background noise from the YouTube. Just so you know what I'm doing. Oops. Okay. All right. Okay, we are good. Hi, everybody. Okay, so before we begin, we, the WE-SOLATION team, have been discussing land acknowledgement. That's really important to us. And so we're still navigating on how to best do this for a virtual platform. So I'm going to read where I am, which is in Toronto. So we'd like to acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 and the Mississaugas of the Credit. I just want to mention that we've been doing a bit of research in some of the wording, and we're going to continue to do some research to make sure that we're respecting this acknowledgement, and that it's not just words that we're saying, but that it actually resonates, and it's about reconciliation. And the wording traditional, I've been researching, and has been found to kind of have a connotation that it is like something of the past, but obviously Indigenous people are still living here. So I've seen that ancestral territory is being used. So I'm going to look into that more, but that makes sense to me. And so we'll just keep navigating that. And yeah, that's what all of this is about too, is that we're all rooted in, you know, being as living with nature and respecting our resources. And that's what we're trying to do while we're isolated. So my name's Sophi Robertson, and I'm known as your eco friend, and do zero waste consulting and speaking engagements and community engagements. And today we have, she's not my sister, but she does feel like my sister, Sarah Robertson-Barnes. Yeah, maybe you can tell us your website and your handle, and like what you do and how you came to do what you're doing.
That stuff. I am Sarah, and I'm at sustainable.suburbs. Is that right? Yes, on Instagram. And my website is sustainableinthesuburbs.com. And I'm a freelance writer and educator. And right now I'm a emergency homeschooling mom. Yeah. And so how I came to brew Kombucha, I guess, was I just wanted hers, because I don't want to like, and then I just watched some YouTube videos on it and got a really great book and just tried it, and it turns out that it's not scary at all, and you won't poison your family. So I'm gonna show you how to do it.
Especially good when you don't want to end up in the hospital right now.
Yeah, that's the great thing about kombucha, actually, and with most fermented foods is they're great for your gut health. So we're learning a lot more about the importance of our gut on our immune systems and on our mental health, all those kinds of things. It's like a second brain in your gut. So if you can start to get really good gut flora through fermented foods, and that could be through miso or fermented vegetables, any kind of fermented pickle. Not all pickles are fermented, but any kind of like fermented jalapeno, fermented pickle, or kombucha is a great way to boost your gut health. Yeah.
Nice. I'm excited because I am exactly what you said. I've always found it to be daunting, even though everyone says it's simple. I'm like, SCOBY, what the heck is that? It looks like snot
Like a deli. Yeah.
Um, so anyway, so I'm excited to learn. And before we kind of dive in, I just thought I would share how I met Sarah. How we met. When did we meet? Well, we met online on Instagram, and I was attracted to her wit. And anyway, so we we met in person. We met in person at an event that I was part of the organizing committee, and I kind of told her online before, I'm like, please come say hello to me, and thankfully she did, and we've been really good friends ever since. So I really appreciate you taking the time and teaching me and everyone. So thanks.
Good times. I thought it was really cool how today on my memories and on Kenda's memories, it came up that it's 2 years today since we climbed the CN Tower.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh man, already? That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's something that Sophi got me to do, was literally climb the CN Tower. Speaking of coming out of your comfort zone, that's a thing she made me do.
I'm strongly encouraging people to join me in the things.
I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm not sad it was canceled this year.
Yeah, well, it's
I support the cause, but I really didn't want to do it. So
yeah, no, I mean, I kind of feel the same way every year. I've been doing it for like, oh goodness, I think 14 or 15 years. And every year I'm always like, oh man, I meant to train, I meant to do this, I meant to shoot. But then it kind of also gives me an excuse to maybe not do as well as I hoped. But I find once I get there and do it, like, so early, but once I get there and do it, it is, I really enjoy it. Like, and like my favorite part is the after, when we have a huge ass breakfast. Yeah, I know, it's kind of shocking the amount of food that I can put back, I think, to people in my vicinity.
all right.
Okay, cool. So what do we need?
So I usually brew in a much larger vessel, like this size.
Okay.
And then I have another vessel that's larger than this, because sometimes I brew a bunch and I give it away.
Okay.
Friends of mine buy like really fancy lemonade that comes in a bottle like this, the flip top. So instead of just recycling them, I reuse them, and I'll make kombucha in them and then give them back in these bottles. But I'm not going to do that today because I don't have enough sugar. I also just want to show you how you can brew a really small amount. You don't have to have fancy flip top bottles or anything like that. You can just use a jar. But
okay, so this one is exactly 8 cups. So you said 8 cups, right?
8 cups, yeah. Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't have a big jar, you can just half it or quarter it or whatever, right?
Yeah, so the recipe that I'm using today, you can use any recipe you want. That's why, like, I haven't really written it out. I have this book. It's called The Big Book of Kombucha.
Okay.
It's a really great book. It explains what kombucha is, the history, the health benefits, all that kind of stuff. But so any recipe that you want will work, and then you can use your math to scale it down to the size of vessel that you have. So we're doing fractions right now. So this was a good lesson for my oldest to cut things in half today.
Oh, that's cool.
So check. Okay, so what you're gonna need then is you're gonna need 8 cups of chlorine-free water.
Right.
So if your municipal tap water is treated with chlorine, you can get rid of chlorine really easy by boiling it.
Yes.
And then letting it cool, and then the chlorine gas will just evaporate off. It's just so that it doesn't influence the growth of the bacteria in the SCOBY. So you'll need 8 cups of that, and you need 2 to 3 tea bags or 1 tablespoon of loose leaf tea. I lost my tea. I did not. It's right here. So I just buy this in bulk from Bulk Barn. You can use green tea, you can use white tea, you can use oolong tea, whatever. I would only suggest not using Earl Grey. I've always read that and I didn't know why, but then I gave it a goog and it turns out that it has bergamot oil in it. That can impede the process as well.
Got it.
So yeah, I didn't end up using my loose tea though, because I've been cleaning out my cupboards like I'm sure many of us have. And I found some English breakfast tea in my swatch. I've seen a YouTube video. So I just decided to use this to use it up. Anyway.
Okay.
That's what you were going to use as well, right?
Yeah, my husband has, I don't really drink much tea, but my husband has like Irish tea. And I was like, I asked him today, I'm like, is it black tea? He's like, oh, it's tea. I'm like, what do you mean? You're Irish. What? How come you're addicted to tea? But anyway, yes, apparently it's a blend of black tea.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not a brewing expert. I've just been able to do it successfully many times. So here we are doing a booch too.
Nice.
Okay, so the next thing you need is the sugar. And I'm almost out, but
Really should deliver
ask your neighbor. Okay, sugar. And then you need a SCOBY. I think you got the report to pick up, right?
Yes,
so
I did.
The most is, where do you get a SCOBY? Anybody who brews, it will have a baby every time, and then you end up with like many SCOBYs.
Oh, I didn't know it.
Yeah, and so anybody who brews will probably have some to give away.
Okay.
I think it's how you got yours.
Yes. Yeah.
If not, you can usually find them in a health food store, and it'll have some starter liquid in it. So the other thing I said you needed was starter liquid. That's just the liquid that's in with your SCOBY.
Yeah, mine doesn't have a lot for anyone who's new to this. Like, it just came with a tiny bit. So.
Yeah. So you may not have enough starter liquid for this to actually ferment, but that's okay. Because when you go through this first process, you're basically just making yourself more starter tea.
Okay.
And then next time you'll have enough starter tea for the ferment. So if that's the situation that you're in, you're just basically making it more starter liquid.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
So
you have to feed a sourdough starter. It's the same sort of thing.
Okay. I haven't done that, but.
I haven't done that either. Anyway, I keep meaning to, but I can't get flour anywhere.
Yeah, I keep hearing that it's out everywhere. I guess everyone's doing the dough.
That's what Instagram tells me, is everyone is doing the dough. Okay, so I've sort of jumped ahead in my process so that it would be ready, because there is a lot of waiting around time. So typically when I brew this, I'll do it on a Saturday when I'm just like bopping around the kitchen anyway, so that things can be sitting out to cool. So the first thing I do with my 8 cups of water is I put about 6 cups in my vessel.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I just let it cool to room temperature.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. So I can't, because mine is still steaming. So I shouldn't. I'll let it cool, but I won't.
Yeah, you need to let it cool because your SCOBY is a living thing. So what SCOBY stands for is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast.
Whoa.
And so there are 2 organisms that have a symbiotic relationship where they're each working together to sort of feed off of each other and what's inside the brew, and then the off gases are what's going to make it fizzy.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that your liquids are at room temperature. So I put a little less than the 6 cups in here, just because I felt like it, and also I spilled. So put a little bit less, and then you brew your tea.
Yes.
Another 2 cups of water.
Okay, so
6 gives you your 8.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I've already brewed my tea because I wanted it to cool down.
Right.
So I did 3 tea bags, or you would do 1 tablespoon of loose leaf tea.
Okay.
And after that's brewed, you pour your ½ cup of sugar into your tea.
Oh, I forgot to do that first.
So
it's ½ a cup. Okay.
½ a cup.
No messing around. Got it.
I already put mine in and stirred it so that it would be dissolved.
And this is also shouldn't be warm. It should be at room temperature. All of it.
So what I do is I brew my tea for about between 5 and 15 minutes. It's usually the latter because I forget about it. And then I take the tea bags or the tea ball out and I add the sugar to the still hot water.
Okay.
Because it will dissolve quicker in hot water in a
Yep.
higher temperature. And then you can just let it sit until it's cool, or alternatively, you can just pour it right into your vessel and let it cool in the vessel.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pour mine in now while you're doing your sugar stir.
Okay.
So again, this is my 2 cups of water, excuse me, with 3 tea bags and a half cup of sugar.
Okay.
And I'm gonna pour that in.
I have 3 cups of water in here, so I guess I'll just kind of eyeball. Use the 2 cups, yes.
Yeah, just take
Well,
some.
I guess I won't have to eyeball since my container only holds 8. So.
Yeah, just pour a little of the plain water out of your container.
Okay.
Okay. So now in my vessel, I'm weak. Oh, she's gone. Hi. Now in my vessel, I have my 6-ish cups of water and my 2-ish cups of tea.
Mm-hmm.
And my half cup of sugar. That's what's in there so far. You want it to be at about room temperature before you put your SCOBY in. So if you don't have a thermometer, just stick your finger in it.
That's pretty hot.
So mine's fine. Mine's fine.
Yeah, mine feels like bath water.
Yeah, no, it should feel like room temperature water, like it's been sitting in. So
I'll have to wait a little while.
I don't know what the actual degrees is. If you looked at like a recipe or whatever, it'll tell you. It should be less than body temperature. So just stick your finger in it, and if it feels like it's cooler than your body, then you're fine.
Okay. Oh, there's a question.
Okay.
Because for us lazy people, what will happen if we don't boil the water to get rid of the chlorine? You can just leave it out, can't you?
Yeah, you can leave it overnight. So you can leave it out in an open jar or in an open measuring cup overnight, and it should mostly bubble out. Okay. And that's what I do with what I'm going to water my plants with. I usually have a watering can that I leave water in so that the chlorine evaporates out. If you just do it with regular tap water, like it should be fine. It may just take longer to ferment.
Okay.
I just do it because I'm a weird science nerd and I just want my microbes to be happy, but I mean, it is what it is. So you can either let it evaporate out overnight or boil it or just see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that's wrong, but you can do what you want. Like follow the basic recipe. Everybody's brewing process is going to be a little bit different.
Exactly.
Something that's important to keep in mind is that the ambient temperature of your kitchen is different than anybody else's. So I'm just like talking, right? I'm just going to cover this so I'm not like spitting into my brew. The ambient temperature in your kitchen is different than whoever's video you're watching or whatever book you're reading. So it might take 5 days in their kitchen. It might take 7 days in yours. The ambient temperature of your kitchen also changes throughout the course of the year. So it takes longer for me to brew in the winter than it does in the summer.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have my whole mixture together here now. My tea, my plain water, my sugar, that's ready to go. It's a good temperature. So now I'm going to put the SCOBY in.
Okay.
This is the gross part. So always wash your hands before you touch your SCOBY. Again, it's like a living thing and you want to keep the balance in check. So I'm going to just wash my hands for 20 seconds or more.
What sound do you sing?
I've been going back and forth between Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up, and because that was the first like chart that I saw for how long or Lizzo, Truth Hurts. Those are my.
What's the other one?
Lizzo.
Oh yes, nice.
I'm basic, so yeah. All right.
Amazing.
So, okay. So in my SCOBY hotel, of which I have 2, but it's an open container because you want it to be able to breathe, to get some oxygen in the top. I just cut up one of my kids' old t-shirts to use for that, or you can use a cloth napkin or whatever, but it's a good use for an old t-shirt. So maybe I can come closer so you can see how gross the SCOBY is. It does look super gross. It's kind of like a jellyfish. So I'm going to take it out now so you can see what she looks like.
Screenshot this, Lynn.
So it's kind of like your placenta if you go back in time.
I was thinking.
Yeah, it has kind of like a double layer here, and it's really slimy and gross. I'll show you another one in a second, but eventually it will grow to be the size of your container.
Okay.
I'll show you a big one in a second. So then you're going to take that and you're going to just rest it on top. It should float, but there we go. Can you see?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. Let me just, so it is sinking a little bit just because I moved the container. She'll pop back up. Where'd it go? It's in there. Just you saw it happen. It's in there. Okay. Yeah, it'll, I think we're all feeling a little deflated these days, so she'll float back up. It's fine. And then you're going to take your starter liquid. So that's your starter tea is, please hold, this is a very heavy jar, is the liquid that your SCOBY was living in.
Okay.
Starter tea. Or you can use already brewed kombucha as your starter tea as well.
Okay, can I ask a question? Actually, a couple of questions.
Yes.
So I know with canning, you have to like sterilize all the bottles and jars and all that stuff. Is it the same with kombucha, or like is it more forgiving?
I always keep ours in the dishwasher so that they're sterile, but then they sit in the cupboard, right? So you just want to make sure that your work surface is clean, your hands are clean, and your utensils are clean. But it's not a sterile process.
Got it.
It's literally like a big hunk of bacteria and yeast together, so it's not a sterile process. You just want to make sure that it's covered so that no mold is getting in, no mold spores can get in, but that oxygen, like gases, can go in and out.
Right. Okay. And what about another question is, what about the starter? So you said where your SCOBY lives in the starter liquid. So is that just living in like somewhere that's dark or somewhere that's okay? So it should be like in your cabinet or somewhere dark.
Yeah, I keep mine in a cupboard because you want to keep it out of direct sunlight. That can influence what types of organisms grow, and you're trying to control that.
Okay.
So I keep it out of direct sunlight, but somewhere that's warm but not hot. So I wouldn't keep it in the cupboard next to your stove.
Okay.
That might be too hot, and the temperature will be variable. So just keep it in like a cupboard, a less used cupboard. I just keep mine in the pantry.
Okay.
Yeah. So I put my SCOBY in, and she's floating back up. It's hard to see. Sorry, she is floating.
I can see. Yeah, I think I can see. Yeah.
So she should be floating on top. She's not. She will. It's fine. And then you're gonna pour your starter liquid on top of your SCOBY.
Okay.
This has already been fermented, so it has kind of the good stuff in it that you want the rest to grow.
Okay.
I'm gonna pour that in. Okay, and then you want to cover it. So I just use a piece of old t-shirt and an elastic band. I also take my grease pencil, and again, it's hard to see just because of the light, but I write the date that I brewed on. I don't know if you can see.
That's smart. Yeah.
Yeah, I write the date that I brewed on because I will forget, and you need to keep track of how many days it's been for when you're going to start tasting it. So then what I do is, because I'm a scatterbrain, I will get out my phone and set a reminder for myself to taste my kombucha in 5 days.
Okay.
Or I'll forget about it in the cupboard.
Okay.
So this guy is ready to go sit in the cupboard. And I'm going to bring this guy out, and we'll just pretend that it's almost ready. So let's say it's day 5 and you want to start tasting. You want it to start tasting just tart. It's sweet right now because you've brewed really sweet tea with the sugar. So when you start tasting it, you want it to start tasting just ever so slightly tart. So what you're gonna do is take your straw and slightly move the SCOBY on top out of the way.
Okay.
And then if it starts to taste just slightly tart, then you're ready for your second ferment. And this is when we're gonna bottle it.
Oh, okay.
You wanna see the really big SCOBY that's in here?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Whoa.
See, this is a big one.
That looks like a really amazing mask.
Yeah, or like a big piece of cheese. But yeah, I have lots of SCOBYs in here. So if anybody local to me would like a SCOBY, I'm happy to part with one.
Local is.
Oh, I'm in Aurora, Ontario. Duh. I'm like, everyone knows me. It's fine.
No, I forget those things too.
Yeah. So this one you can see is floating on top really nicely. She's a monitor.
Nice. I want to like touch mine now. That's real weird.
Feels like a raw chicken breast, I guess, if my memory from the 1990s serves.
Okay. I want to share my sliminess as well. Do I have two?
Is it kind of like a pita?
There's one.
No, that's one. So what happens is after the brew, it'll make another one.
Okay, because there's another. I think she gave me two.
Yeah, so the mother will have a baby and then they eventually separate off.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's how you end up with a bunch like this in your SCOBY hotel.
Okay. It's very exciting. You only ever really need one.
So let's say I have my brew. Let's say it's been, I don't know, 5 to 7-ish days. It can take like 2 weeks or more in the winter in my house, just because it's winter, I guess. I don't know. It takes fewer days in the summer. So now we're going to bottle it and get ready for the second ferment. And this is what's going to make it fizzy. You know, kombucha is kind of like pop. Has that fizzy taste. So you'll take your guy. You'll take the SCOBY out and put it back in your hotel. Okay. I'm going to leave it in though, because she's just floating back to the top and I don't want to disturb her. So take your SCOBY out and then you're going to bottle it. I use flip top bottles just because I happen to have them, but you can just use another jar. Okay. This is actually vegetable broth that I made yesterday, but it's being a stand-in for kombucha because that's showbiz, baby. Anyhow, so you'll just take it and pour it in with a funnel. This is when you can also do your flavoring. So you can add fruit or ginger or maple syrup. Something that has a little bit of natural sugar in it is always going to give you more carbonation because the bacteria and the yeast will start giving off more carbon dioxide during the second ferment process. So I like to do blueberries, and I just put whole blueberries, full frozen blueberries right in here. Or you can do cut up pieces of strawberry. I've done mango. I've done mint out of the garden. You can do chunks of ginger or maple syrup, whatever. Okay, cool. Yeah, whatever you like. Or you can just leave it plain, and that's fine too. Okay. Yeah. The only thing is you have to burp it so that your jar doesn't explode. Right. Don't learn this the hard way. So what I do is I just leave them on the counter over there while they're doing their second ferment so that I remember to burp them every day. And when you burp it, you basically just go like this. You'll hear it, go, and then put the lid right back on again, once a day. Okay. That's it. For how long? It depends again on the ambient temperature of your kitchen, and it also depends on how much carbonation you want. So if you want just a little bit, maybe do 2 or 3 days. If you'd like a little bit more carbonation, a couple extra days, you can taste it at any point and see how it's going. I wouldn't do that, put it in a little shot glass or something. And then once it's reached the amount of carbonation that you would like, put it in the fridge, and that will slow the carbonation, and then you can drink it. Okay, and what about the fruit that you put in? Should you strain that, or you can just leave it, or?
No, it's okay.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. And I've never had a problem getting fruit back out of the bottle.
Okay.
Because it's kind of quite chewed up by the end. So you just like shake it out. It's fine.
Okay.
You'll see.
Oh, yeah.
This is, again, vegetable broth, but there's still some cloudy bits down here too. So if you've ever even bought commercial kombucha, you might see that there's like stuff at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to your apple cider vinegar jar. And that's just like new SCOBY bits trying to coalesce into a new SCOBY.
Right.
And it's perfectly fine. It won't hurt you. It should be there. You're okay. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay. There's a question.
Okay.
Is there anything else you can do with a SCOBY, like cook them and eat them, or ferment something else, or use them in compost?
That's a really great question. I don't.
You don't have to know all the answers.
I don't know.
I've seen some stuff of people dehydrating them and like using them as material, like
using what?
As like material, like as like almost like a leather, like dehydrated. Yeah, which is like I feel like that's pretty intense.
Yeah, I'm not at that level.
No, I don't think I'm not a seamstress. I can't even darn my damn socks. So
yeah.
I'm hardly going to dehydrate that, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. Like when I have ones that are looking funky or whatever, I've just been composting them.
Okay.
I'm sure you can do other things with them. It's just not something that I've prioritized, so I don't know.
Yeah. There's like that's what's that?
Or I give them away. So
yeah, true. Yeah. And when you say they get like funky looking or whatever, what does that mean? What do they look like? How do you know?
That's a good question too. Sometimes in the past I have neglected my SCOBY hotel and then they dry out. Sometimes they do get mold on them just for whatever reason. Like maybe I didn't put the cloth on properly, or my hands weren't clean, or the straw wasn't clean, or something. That's happened like twice, and I've just gotten rid of my SCOBY then.
Okay.
You might see like little bits on top and think it's mold, but it's probably yeast.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I still Google stuff. Like the other day, I had to Google like, why is my SCOBY sinking?
Oh, okay.
That kind of thing. So I forget what the result was there, but it's just like I'm an expert knitter, but I don't know everything off the top of my head. So I'll look stuff up, or I have my book here, this big book of kombucha that I showed before, which I find really, really useful.
Okay.
So I'm a visual learner. Like I'm a book person.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the process. It's not scary. It's just the touching the SCOBY is the worst part. Mm-hmm. And then just kind of keep an eye on it. I mean, it should be fine. It's really hard to mess up. If you do, if it doesn't work out, it's okay. Just start a new brew, because what might have happened was it just the SCOBY might not be mature enough is a possibility. Or it hasn't acclimated to your house yet. Like you just picked yours up from porch pickup, right?
Yeah.
So it may not have like acclimated to your house environment yet. You can think of it sort of like when you buy a fish. You don't just put it right in your tank. You have to let it float in the bag for a while.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like to kind of acclimate to your house. So if your brew doesn't work the first time, that's okay. Just start a new brew and use this as your starter tea, and better luck on your second brew, because it is a living thing and it's not going to be the same every time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have another question. Is if so you have like your SCOBY hotel. Yeah. Do you ever like empty that out and then clean it? Is that something you're supposed to do? No. Okay.
No, I don't. Because there should be, so here, I'll bring this closer to the thing. There should be one that's floating right on top. You see how there's one that's right on top?
Yeah, the whole jar,
and more or less keeping out the ambient air.
Yeah.
Forming a natural barrier, and then your cloth is going to come in for keeping spores and stuff out.
Okay. And it doesn't
if I need to feed it every once in a while, I'll just feed it some liquid from my current brew.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And like, does it last indefinitely? Like,
I had one
You know?
kind of crap out on me. Yeah, I had one SCOBY hotel where I killed like a lot of them. Just
Murderer.
I know, just so wasteful, but it was through just neglect.
Okay.
So it ate up all the resources inside the jar, and I just had to start again with a new SCOBY.
Okay.
It happens. I mean, you can be doing continuous brew. I don't have my life together that much to do that. I just do like these one-off brews.
Yeah, I don't think I would either. I can't.
Yeah. And then so when I do it, like I said, I have a really big vessel that I brew in, and it's a lot wider.
Okay.
But then I have too much that I can't drink. So that's when I end up giving it away to people. So I figured this is a good household size.
Yeah.
Because you can get about 2 liters out of it if all goes well.
Okay.
So, but even right now, I'm like, damn, I hope this works, like my own brew.
Okay, cool. This is great. I'm going to wait for this to kind of cool down a bit, and then I'll add my SCOBY and put it away. And then, okay, so
Pour your starter tea on top.
Right. Yes. Well, I don't have much, so I'll basically just, or can I, am I not handling it well if I pour the SCOBY in with it, or should I just gently?
I would recommend like gently placing your SCOBY on top and then pouring the starter tea on top, because you're trying to form that barrier.
Right.
But my SCOBY sank today because she's being a bit of a bee. Yeah, I might do another brew actually in my other big container, because I have this big one here on the top, and just see which one works. So yeah.
All right, cool.
This one's thicker. This one's much thinner. It's just depends on your vessel, depends on your house, depends on your.
Oh yeah, there's so many different things. Please don't. Questions are welcome.
Yeah.
Like
it's not an exact science. I mean, I do it in the order that I showed. And it's kind of slapdash and really scatterbrained, and I can still manage to pull it off. So
yeah, that's what I'm going for. Scatterbrain right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Works. I hope mine works too, because I'd really like to have some.
Yeah, and if anyone did do this along, let us know. Post it on Instagram and tag WE-SOLATION and tag Sarah and me and whoever, because we also do a giveaway for each episode when somebody tags us to show us what they made or what they learned. So we one random viewer will get a personalized note from one of our team members, and you'll get some seed paper to send a note to one of your friends or loved ones, and also some little confetti hearts that are herb seed paper, so you can grow some herbs while we're all indoors. Yeah, so we definitely want to see all the stuff you're making. So even if you didn't do it today, it would be great to see that going forward, because that's what this is all about. I keep forgetting to say what WE-SOLATION is about, because I've been thinking about it every day, but that's why we're doing this, is that we're all isolated, but I think community is always really at the forefront of my mind, and it's hard right now. So community coming together with these kind of things, and still skill sharing and learning, and just coming together is what this is all about. So thank you, Sarah.
If you have questions, just message me, because I know this was kind of an all over the place tutorial, but every Booch tutorial I've ever watched, I have to keep pausing like 20 times, because there is that waiting for your tea to brew and all that kind of stuff. But if you don't have a flip top jar and you're just using a regular jar, when you burp it, same idea, just and then right back on. Yeah,
cool.
If you don't burp it,
all right,
it will explode.
But it doesn't have to be. Does it have to be in a dark place when it's at the second fermentation?
No, I just leave it on my counter, but again, I'll out of direct sunlight.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be in the dark, just not in direct sunlight.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Sarah.
I hope it works.
That was amazing. I'm looking forward to it. And like you said, I don't really have enough I probably don't have enough starter liquid, but now I will probably, hopefully, grow another SCOBY, and I'd be happy to share with anyone in Toronto. I'm downtown, so yeah.
Yeah, that might be the result of your order this time, is you've just made more starter tea and a BB.
Yeah.
And that's great, because it needs to get used to you, and it needs to get used to your house, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Thanks so much, Sarah. All right, I will see you later today.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Bye.